Hey guys, tonight we begin not with ancient Athens or fairy kingdoms, but with something far more dangerous and intoxicating. A summer night in the Hamptons where love gets chemically complicated. Because believe it or not, when a party planner with a god complex mixes experimental love potions into signature cocktails, even the most carefully constructed lives start to unravel. From trust fund heirs to bartenders from Queens, from cancelled weddings to theatrical troupes in togas, this is Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, reimagined for the era of hedge funds, bottle service, and blackberries. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's drift into a summer night where chemistry meets chaos, where appropriateness meets authenticity, and where four young hearts discover that love doesn't follow the rules, especially not in the Hamptons. Let's begin. The summer of 2007 blooms hot and golden across the Hamptons, where old money meets new excess, and the Atlantic Ocean crashes against pristine white beaches. Southampton's estate district glows in the late June sun, its sprawling mansions hidden behind perfectly manicured hedges and gates that cost more than most people's homes. This is where Manhattan's elite escape the city's sweltering heat, where weekend parties cost 6 figures and last until dawn, where love and ambition tangle like morning glory, vines on weathered fences. Theodore Sutton stands on the terrace of his oceanfront estate, a glass of aged scotch catching the golden afternoon light. At 52, he's built an empire of luxury developments from Miami to the Hamptons, his name synonymous with elegance and wealth. His salt and pepper hair is perfectly styled, his linen shirt crisp despite the humidity. In exactly 1 week, he'll marry Pia Montenegro, a stunning Brazilian model turned philanthropist, and their wedding will be the social event of the season. 300 guests, orchids flown in from Thailand, a performance by a Grammy-winning singer whose name can't be mentioned yet. Pia emerges from the house wearing a flowing white sundress, her dark hair cascading over bronze shoulders. She moves like water, graceful and certain. The caterer's confirmed for Thursday, she says, kissing Theo's cheek, and the tent company will arrive Tuesday morning. 1 week, my love, 1 perfect week. Nothing will go wrong, Theo assures her, though his eyes hold something troubled. I've made sure of it. I control every variable. But control, as he's about to learn, is an illusion when it comes to matters of the heart. Even in the Hamptons, especially in the Hamptons, where champagne flows like water and the night air carries secrets on the ocean breeze, love follows its own chaotic rules. Inside the house, in the marble-floored living room, with its soaring ceilings and abstract art worth millions, a different drama unfolds. Gregory Ashford paces like a caged animal, his designer loafers clicking against imported Italian tile. He's a hedge fund manager who made his fortune during the boom, a man accustomed to getting exactly what he wants when he wants it. Right now, what he wants is for his daughter to see reason. Absolutely not, Gregory says, his voice sharp as broken glass. I forbid it, Mia. Do you understand? I forbid this ridiculous relationship. Mia Ashford stands near the floor-to-ceiling windows, 22 years old and beautiful in that effortless way of the very wealthy. Honey-colored hair highlighted by the best colorist in Manhattan designer jeans that cost $800, a simple tank top that somehow looks elegant on her slender frame. But her eyes, those startling green eyes, burn with defiance. You can't forbid me from loving someone, Dad. This isn't the 1800s. No, it's 2007 and you're still living under my roof, attending college on my dime, driving a car I bought, Gregory snaps. Liam Carter is a bartender, Mia. A bartender from Queens who serves drinks to people like us. He has nothing. He is nothing. The words hang in the air like poison. Mia's hands clench into fists at her sides. He's working his way through NYU. He's smart and kind and real, which is more than I can say for anyone in your circle. You'll marry Dominic Westbrook. Gregory says with finality. The Westbrooks are one of the oldest families in the Hamptons. Dominic's trust fund alone is worth $40 million. The merger of our families would be a business transaction, Mia interrupts, her voice cracking. That's all marriage is to you, isn't it? Just another deal to broker, another asset to acquire. Gregory's expression hardens. You have until the end of this week to end things with this bartender, or I'll cut you off completely. No more tuition, no more apartment, no more credit cards. You'll see how romantic poverty is when you're living it. He storms out, leaving Mia trembling with rage and fear. She pulls out her iPhone, the new model everyone's been obsessing over, and texts with shaking fingers. We need to talk. My place tonight. It's bad. The message goes to Liam Carter, who's currently behind the bar at the Azure, one of Southampton's trendiest restaurants. He's 24, dark-haired and handsome in a way that doesn't rely on expensive haircuts or personal trainers. His forearms are strong from lifting cases of imported beer and vintage wine. He reads Mia's text during a rare quiet moment and feels his stomach drop. He knows what's coming. He's always known this moment would arrive. A girl like Mia, from a world of private jets and summer homes, and a guy like him, sleeping in a converted garage apartment behind the restaurant, sharing bathroom facilities with 3 other seasonal workers. It was always doomed, wasn't it? But God, he loves her. Loves her laugh and the way she cries at sad movies, and how she tips servers twice the bill amount and actually asks people about their lives. She's real in a way no one else in this gilded bubble seems to be. His coworker Marcus nudges him. Trouble in paradise? Her father found out about us, Liam says quietly. Man, I told you. These Hamptons girls, they're fun for the summer, but Mia's different, Liam says, and he believes it with everything in him. Across town, in another pristine mansion, Elena Westbrook sits by her pool in an oversized t-shirt and shorts, mascara-stained tears tracking down her face. She's been crying on and off for 3 hours, ever since she saw the Instagram post. Dominic Westbrook tagged at some exclusive beach club with models draped over him like accessories. Dominic is her obsession, her curse, her first love, who never loved her back. They grew up together, same private schools, same country club, same circle of families who've summered in the Hamptons since the 1920s. She's loved him since she was 15, loved his easy confidence, his sharp jawline, the way he commands attention when he enters a room. But Dominic barely notices she exists, except when he needs someone to complain to about his latest conquest. They've been friends, or something like friends, and Elena has tortured herself with proximity, hoping someday he'll see her, really see her. Now her father's best friend wants Dominic to marry Mia Ashford. Perfect, beautiful Mia with her perfect life. And Mia doesn't even want him. She's in love with some townie, a bartender for God's sake. It's so unfair Elena could scream. She picks up her sidekick and calls Mia. We need to talk, she says when Mia answers, about Dominic. Elena, I can't deal with this right now. Just listen. I know you don't want to marry him. But what if I told you I could help you? What if there was a way for both of us to get what we want? Mia pauses. I'm listening. And so the threads begin to weave together, tangling like seaweed in the tide, pulling 4 young people toward a collision that will change everything. 1 week until the wedding of the season. 7 days until Theodore Sutton and Pia Montenegro say I do, in front of Southampton's most powerful people. 7 nights for love to work its chaos. 7 nights for magic to slip through the cracks of the carefully controlled world. It begins now as sunset turns the ocean gold and the first parties of the evening spark to life across the Hamptons. In beach houses and mansions, on yachts and in clubs, the beautiful people gather. They drink artisanal cocktails and dance to music mixed by DJs flown in from Ibiza. They gossip and scheme and pursue pleasure with the single-minded focus of those who've never known want. And somewhere beyond the manicured gardens and infinity pools, where the wild beach grass grows tall and the dunes hide secret hollows, something older and stranger stirs. The true Hamptons, the place that existed before the mansions, before the hedge fund managers and fashion editors, before any of this glittering excess. a place where different rules apply, where Park Chen is preparing something very special for this week's festivities. Park Chen drives his matte black Range Rover down Gin Lane, one hand on the wheel, the other holding his Bluetooth earpiece as he coordinates 6 different conversations simultaneously. At 35, Park is the Hamptons' most sought-after party planner and nightlife impresario, the man who can get you into any club, secure any DJ, make any impossible event materialize from thin air. His Korean-American parents wanted him to be a lawyer. Instead, he became the architect of dreams. No, the ice sculpture goes on the east lawn, not the west, he says into his phone, his voice carrying that particular blend of charm and authority that makes people obey without question. And tell the pyrotechnics team we need the display at exactly 11:30, not 11:29, not 11:31. Precision matters, darling. He's wearing Tom Ford sunglasses despite the approaching evening, a fitted black button-down, and jeans that cost more than most people's monthly rent. His hair is perfectly styled in that deliberately messy way that takes 45 minutes to achieve. Everything about Park Chen is calculated, controlled, immaculate. Everything except his love of chaos, because Park has a secret. Beneath the polished professionalism, beneath the 5-star reputation and celebrity client list, he loves nothing more than watching carefully constructed social orders collapse. He loves mischief. He thrives on disorder. And this week, with Theodore Sutton's wedding, he's planning something special. He pulls up to Theo's estate where Pia waits on the front steps looking stressed. "Park, thank God," she says as he emerges from the vehicle. "We have a crisis. The florist called. The orchids from Thailand are stuck in customs. Something about agricultural inspections." Park removes his sunglasses, his dark eyes twinkling with barely suppressed amusement. "Pia, my love, I've handled diplomatic incidents with less paperwork than Thai customs. Trust me, the orchids will be here. I have people." "You always have people," Pia says, relaxing slightly. "What would we do without you?" "Descend into chaos and mediocrity," Park says cheerfully. "Now let's discuss the real magic, the after party. I'm thinking we transform the beach into something extraordinary. Tiki torches but elevated, string lights woven through the dunes, a DJ booth built to look like driftwood but equipped with the best sound system money can buy, and perhaps a special cocktail, something memorable." "What kind of special?" Pia asks, intrigued despite herself. Park's smile is mysterious, cat-like. "Let's call it transformative. A signature drink that makes people see possibilities they'd normally ignore, opens them up to new experiences. You know how these Hamptons events can be. Everyone's so buttoned up, so concerned with appearances. Wouldn't it be delightful if people just let go?" Pia laughs, not understanding the deeper meaning in his words. "As long as it's legal, and no one ends up in the tabloids." "Oh, darling," Park says, "I make no promises about tabloids." As Park enters the house to consult with Theodore about the wedding timeline, another drama unfolds at the Azure restaurant. Mia Ashford sits in a corner booth, trying to stay inconspicuous despite being overdressed for the casual beachside eatery. She watches Liam work behind the bar, his movements efficient and graceful, mixing a martini for a woman wearing enough diamonds to fund a small country. Elena Westbrook slides into the booth across from her. Unlike Mia's designer perfection, Elena wears simple clothes, a sundress from J. Crew, minimal makeup, her brown hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She's pretty in an understated way, the kind of girl who could be stunning if she tried but has never quite believed it. "So here's what I'm thinking," Elena says without preamble. "You don't want to marry Dominic. I'm desperately in love with him." "You're in love with—" She glances toward Liam, the bartender. "His name is Liam," Mia says defensively. "Right, Liam. The point is, what if we run away? You and Liam. Just disappear for a week. By the time you come back, your father will have calmed down. And maybe while Dominic is dealing with losing you, he'll finally notice me." Mia stares at her. "That's your plan? Run away and hope my father doesn't disown me?" "Do you have a better idea?" Elena challenges. "Your dad is threatening to cut you off. He's trying to force you into a marriage you don't want. What are you going to do? Just roll over and let him control your life?" The words hit home. Mia looks at Liam again, sees him smile at a customer, sees the kindness in his eyes. She thinks about a life without him, about marrying Dominic Westbrook for his trust fund and his family name, about becoming exactly what her father wants her to be. "Where would we go?" she asks quietly. Elena leans forward, conspiratorial. "There's this beach party thing happening all week. The wild part of the Hamptons, past the estates where the dunes get tall and everything's still natural. I heard some people talking about it at the club. Supposed to be incredible. Secret locations each night. Invitation only, but I can get us in. My cousin knows the promoter." "Your cousin knows everyone," Mia says, but she's considering it. "Wednesday night," Elena presses. "The biggest party of the week. We all go, you, Liam, me, and I'll convince Dominic to come. Away from our parents, away from all the rules and expectations. Just one night to figure things out. One night to be free." Mia pulls out her phone, her thumb hovering over Liam's contact. One night. Could it really change everything? Across the restaurant, Liam finishes his shift and walks over, still wearing his black work shirt and tie. Up close, his eyes are a warm hazel, concerned as he looks at Mia. "Your text sounded serious. What happened?" Mia takes his hand, feels the calluses from hard work, so different from the soft hands of the men in her father's world. "My dad knows about us. He's threatening to cut me off if I don't end things. He wants me to marry Dominic Westbrook." Liam's jaw tightens. "And what do you want?" "You," Mia says simply. "But I don't know how to make this work. I don't know how to fight him." Elena watches them, sees the genuine love there, and feels her chest ache with longing. That's what she wants with Dominic. That look, that certainty, that connection. "Come to the beach party with us," Elena blurts out. "Wednesday night, all of us. It'll give you time to think, time to plan. And who knows, maybe some distance from all this pressure will help." Liam looks skeptical. "A Hamptons beach party? Elena, I work at these things. I'm not exactly guest list material." "Park Chen is running it," Elena says. "And Park doesn't care about social status. He cares about interesting people. Trust me, you'll fit in better than half the trust fund babies who'll be there." Mia squeezes Liam's hand. "One night. What could it hurt?" Liam looks into her eyes and knows he'd follow her anywhere, even into the lion's den of Hamptons society. "Okay," he says. "One night." None of them know it yet, but they've just sealed their fates. Wednesday night, in the wild dunes beyond the manicured estates, Park Chen's party will change everything. And elsewhere in the Hamptons, other players are moving into position for the week's festivities. Dominic Westbrook reclines on a leather banquette at Dune, the Hamptons' most exclusive nightclub, surrounded by a rotating cast of models and socialites who laugh too loudly at his jokes. At 25, he's everything his family breeding and trust fund promises. Tall, athletic, with sandy blonde hair that falls artfully across his forehead, a jawline sharp enough to cut glass, and the kind of effortless confidence that comes from never hearing the word no. He wears a white linen shirt unbuttoned just enough to show his tanned chest, expensive jeans, and a Rolex that cost more than most cars. His arm drapes casually around a redhead whose name he can't remember, while his other hand holds a tumbler of 18-year-old scotch. "So my father wants me to marry Mia Ashford," he announces to the table, his tone suggesting this is mildly amusing gossip rather than his actual future. Apparently the Ashfords and Westbrooks joining forces would create some kind of Hamptons super dynasty. A blonde in a designer dress giggles. "Mia's gorgeous, though. You could do worse." "She's fine," Dominic says dismissively. "Pretty enough. Good family. But word is she's slumming it with some bartender. Can you imagine? All that money and breeding, wasting it on a guy who probably lives in a studio apartment in Queens. What Dominic doesn't say, what he'd never admit even to himself, is that the idea of marrying Mia Ashford bores him to tears. She's exactly what's expected. The appropriate choice, the safe choice, the choice that requires nothing of him except showing up. And Dominic Westbrook has spent his entire life being bored by appropriate choices. His phone buzzes. A text from Elena Westbrook. "Need to talk, important. Beach party Wednesday?" He ignores it. Elena's always needing to talk about something, always following him around like a puppy. Sweet girl, sure, but utterly without the spark that interests him. Too eager, too available, too desperate for his attention. Meanwhile, across town in a converted garage apartment that smells faintly of salt air and mildew, 5 people crowd around a battered coffee table covered in wedding planning magazines, fabric swatches, and hand-drawn sketches. This is the team from Eternal Moments Wedding Planning, though team is a generous term for this ragtag collection of strivers. Bobby Rizzo, their self-appointed leader, spreads his arms wide in enthusiasm. He's 42, balding, wearing a polo shirt with their company logo embroidered on it, a logo he designed himself in Microsoft Paint. People, 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 Bobby says, his Brooklyn accent thick as summer humidity. This is our shot. Theodore Sutton's wedding. 300 guests, every major player in the Hamptons attending. If we nail this, we'll never need another client. We'll be the go-to wedding planners for the entire Eastern Seaboard. Bobby, we're doing the rehearsal dinner, not the actual wedding, says Sandra Lynn, the group's pragmatist. She's 35, wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweatshirt despite the heat, her black hair pulled into a no-nonsense bun. Park Chen is handling the main event. We're small potatoes. Small potatoes today, Bobby insists. But tomorrow, after they see our rehearsal dinner performance, we'll be legends. The performance Bobby refers to is his grand vision, a theatrical presentation during the rehearsal dinner, a kind of interpretive dance/dramatic reading about love through the ages. He's convinced it will move people to tears and generate viral buzz. I still think the togas are too much, mutters James Park, a thin Korean-American guy in his 20s who handles their social media. It's 2007. People don't want to see middle-aged wedding planners in togas. They're not togas. They're Roman-inspired ceremonial garments, Bobby corrects. And age is just a number, James. We represent timeless love. Beside him, Rachel Goldstein, their florist and the group's artistic soul, sketches elaborate flower arrangements while half listening. She's 50, with wild gray curls and paint-stained fingers, a former art teacher who stumbled into wedding planning after her divorce. I still say we need more peonies. Peonies represent romance and prosperity. The 5th member of their group, Tommy Chen, no relation to Park Chen, though he wishes there was, sits quietly in the corner. He's 19, working his way through community college, handling their equipment and setup. He barely speaks, just takes notes and nods, grateful to have a summer job that pays cash under the table. Okay, team, Bobby says, pulling out a crumpled schedule. Wednesday night is our deadline. The rehearsal dinner is Friday, wedding Saturday. That gives us 3 days to perfect our performance. Wednesday we'll do a full dress rehearsal on the beach. I found this spot in the dunes, totally private, perfect for practicing our choreography. Choreography, Sandra repeats flatly. Bobby, we're wedding planners, not the Joffrey Ballet. We're artists, Bobby declares. And on Wednesday night, while the rich people are at their fancy parties, we'll be perfecting our craft. We'll show them what real passion looks like. None of them realize that Wednesday night, in those same dunes where Bobby plans to rehearse their ridiculous theatrical performance, Park Chen's legendary beach party will be unfolding. That the wild and natural stretch of beach Bobby thinks is deserted is actually the chosen location for the most exclusive event of the summer. None of them know that by Wednesday night, their worlds will collide with Mia and Liam and Elena and Dominic in ways that will turn everything upside down. Back at Theodore Sutton's estate, the man himself stands in his study, looking at a framed photograph on his desk. It's old, faded, a picture of him 20 years younger with a dark-haired woman laughing in his arms. Not Pia. Someone else. Someone from before the money grew, before the empire, before he learned to control every variable. Her name was scattered to memory now, but the feeling she gave him, wild, unpredictable, dangerous, that remains. He loved her with a passion that nearly destroyed him. She left, of course. Women like that always leave. They can't be controlled, can't be tamed, can't be kept in carefully constructed worlds. So he built high walls, made smarter choices, found Pia, beautiful, elegant, appropriate Pia, who fits perfectly into the life he's created. But sometimes, late at night with scotch burning his throat and the ocean roaring beyond his windows, Theodore wonders what he traded for all this control, what he sacrificed on the altar of appropriate choices. He doesn't know that this week those walls will crack, that the wild, unpredictable magic he thought he'd banished from his life is stirring in the dunes beyond his perfect lawn. Wednesday approaches like a storm on the horizon. In 3 days, Park Chen's beach party will bring together star-crossed lovers, desperate dreamers, and ridiculous wedding planners under a summer moon. In 3 days, carefully constructed lives will unravel like silk in seawater. In 3 days, the magic begins. But first, the ordinary world must turn. Morning must come. Coffee must be made. The machinery of Hamptons society must continue its relentless rotation. Brunches and tennis matches, charity luncheons and yacht club dinners, all the rituals that keep the beautiful people beautiful and the powerful people powerful. Act 1 closes with the sun setting over the Atlantic, turning the water gold and crimson. Somewhere in those waves between the manicured beaches and the wild dunes, between what is and what could be, possibility waits. And Park Chen, driving home with his windows down and his music loud, smiles to himself. He's planned 1,000 parties, orchestrated 100 perfect events. But this week will be his masterpiece. Tuesday morning breaks hot and humid across the Hamptons, the kind of summer heat that makes the air shimmer above the pavement and turns the ocean into a sheet of hammered silver. The weekend warriors have returned to Manhattan, leaving only the true summer residents, those who can afford to abandon the city for months at a time, who measure their vacations in seasons rather than weeks. Park Chen sits on the deck of his ultra-modern beach house in Amagansett, all glass and steel and clean lines that seem to defy gravity. He sips green tea and scrolls through his iPad, reviewing the guest list for Wednesday's party. 200 confirmed attendees, each one carefully selected, the right mix of old money and new wealth, fashion editors and tech entrepreneurs, celebrities and socialites, all blended to create the perfect social chemistry. But Park isn't thinking about the guest list. He's thinking about the special ingredient that will make this party legendary. His assistant, Robin Nash, emerges from the house carrying a sleek black case. Robin is 28, androgynous and striking with a shaved head, multiple piercings, and an oversized vintage band t-shirt hanging off one shoulder. They move with cat-like grace, setting the case on the table between Park and his tea. "Got it," Robin says, their voice carrying a hint of mischief. "Took some convincing, but my contact in Williamsburg came through." Park opens the case to reveal dozens of small glass vials filled with an iridescent liquid that seems to shift between purple and blue and gold depending on the angle of the light. Each vial is no bigger than an energy shot, elegant and mysterious. "Tell me again what this does," Park says, though he already knows. He just likes hearing it. Robin grins. "It's a designer empathogen, totally legal, technically speaking, developed by some neuroscience grad students who were trying to create a therapy aid. Makes people hyper-receptive to emotional connections, lowers inhibitions, amplifies attraction. Basically, it makes you fall in love with the first person you have a meaningful interaction with while under the influence." "How long does it last?" 4 to 6 hours. Then it wears off gradually. No hangover, no long-term effects. Though my contact says the emotional connections formed under the influence can persist if there was any underlying attraction to begin with." Park lifts one vial to the light, watching the liquid shimmer. "And we're sure it's safe?" "As safe as anything else people consume at parties in the Hamptons," Robin says with a shrug. "Safer than half the prescriptions these people pop like candy." The grad students tested it extensively before they got shut down by the ethics board. "Perfect," Park says softly. "We'll call it Love Potion number 9. Add it to the signature cocktails. Not for everyone, just specific targets. People who need a little push toward their destiny." Robin raises an eyebrow. "Since when are you playing Cupid?" "Since I realized that perfect parties aren't about perfect execution, Park says, his dark eyes gleaming. They're about perfect chaos. Controlled chaos, mind you, but chaos nonetheless. These Hamptons people, they're so locked into their expected roles. So predictable, so boring. What if we gave them permission to be unpredictable? You're playing with people's lives, Robin points out, though their tone suggests fascination rather than judgment. I'm giving them possibilities, Park corrects. Besides, don't you think it's romantic? The idea that the right chemistry at the right moment could change everything. That love could strike like lightning if we just created the perfect storm. Robin laughs. You're either a romantic or a sociopath. I haven't decided which. Why not both? Park says, closing the case. Now let's talk about the setup. The party needs to feel like stepping into another world. String lights through the dunes, yes, but also projections on the sand. Moving images, abstract patterns, fire dancers, the DJ booth built into the natural landscape, and the bar. That's where we'll serve our special cocktails. Who are your targets? Robin asks, pulling out their phone to take notes. Park ticks off on his fingers. Mia Ashford. She'll get one. She's supposedly in love with a bartender, but Daddy wants her to marry a Westbrook. Let's see if the potion confirms her feelings or reveals something else. Elena Westbrook. Desperately in love with Dominic Westbrook. Give her one, too. Dominic himself. He needs to fall for someone unexpected, shake up his privileged world. And the bartender, Liam Carter. Let's see if his love for Mia is real or just infatuation with her money. You're evil, Robin says admiringly. What about dosing some random people just for fun? Oh, definitely, Park agrees. But those four are the main event. I have a feeling their drama will be entertaining. What Park doesn't know, what he can't possibly predict, is that his careful orchestration will spiral beyond his control. That mixing chemicals and emotions and moonlight on a beach is like mixing volatile compounds in a laboratory. You might create something beautiful, or you might create an explosion. Meanwhile, at the Azure restaurant, Liam Carter stands in the walk-in cooler, ostensibly checking inventory, but really just trying to escape the heat and his own thoughts. Wednesday night looms ahead like a test he hasn't studied for. A Hamptons beach party with Mia's world. Mia's people, where he'll be exposed as exactly what he is, an outsider, a working-class kid from Queens pretending he belongs. His phone buzzes. A text from Mia. Can't stop thinking about tomorrow night, about us, about everything. I love you. 3 words he never gets tired of reading. 3 words that terrify him because of what they mean. She's choosing him over her father, over her trust fund, over the safe and easy life she was born into. What if he's not worth it? What if 6 months from now, she realizes she's made a terrible mistake? Marcus sticks his head into the cooler. Yo, lover boy. Table 6 needs their drinks. Stop hiding. Liam emerges back into the heat of the kitchen, back into the real world, where he's just a bartender, and Mia Ashford is still a fantasy that might evaporate like morning mist. At the Ashford mansion, Mia stands in her walk-in closet, a room larger than Liam's entire apartment, staring at racks of designer clothes and feeling nothing but emptiness. Her father hasn't spoken to her since their argument. He communicates through her mother now, brief messages delivered with worried eyes. Your father wants you to attend the Sutton rehearsal dinner Friday. Your father thinks you should reconsider the Westbrook arrangement. Your father is only thinking of your future. Her mother, Patricia Ashford, appears in the doorway now, perfectly coiffed as always, wearing tennis whites and pearl earrings. Darling, we need to talk about Wednesday. I'm going out, Mia says flatly. To a party. With the bartender? With Liam. Yes. Patricia sighs, sitting delicately on the ottoman in the center of the closet. Your father is serious about his threat, Mia. He's already called the bursar at NYU. 1 word from him and your tuition stops. Then I'll get student loans like everyone else, Mia says, though her voice wavers. She's never had to worry about money, never balanced a checkbook or paid a bill. The thought of real financial responsibility is abstractly terrifying. And your apartment? Your car? Your health insurance? Patricia presses gently. Darling, I'm not saying this to be cruel. I'm saying it because I love you, and I want you to understand what you're giving up. Tuesday afternoon bleeds into evening. the sky turning sherbet colors, peach and lavender and gold, as the sun begins its descent toward the Atlantic horizon. At Theo Sutton's estate, the wedding preparations accelerate into controlled frenzy. A massive white tent rises on the south lawn like a ship's sail, its peaks visible from the main house. Workers in khaki shorts and polo shirts swarm the property, rolling out power cables, positioning speakers, marking spots for tables and chairs. Pia Montenegro stands at the center of it all, a clipboard in one hand and her BlackBerry in the other, directing traffic like a glamorous general. Her white sundress ripples in the ocean breeze, oversized sunglasses perched on her head, gold bangles chiming on her wrists with every gesture. "The ice sculptures go inside the tent," she calls to a confused worker. "Not outside. Inside where they won't melt in the sun." Theodore emerges from the house in linen pants and a navy polo, watching his bride-to-be with something like admiration and something like trepidation. She's magnificent in her element, commanding and confident, but there's a brittleness to it, a tension that suggests all this control might shatter if any single element fails. "The orchids cleared customs," Park Chen announces, materializing beside Theodore like a magician's trick. "They'll arrive Thursday morning, exactly as planned. You see? I told you to trust me." "I'm paying you $50,000 to make this perfect," Theodore says. "Trust is expensive." Park laughs, unbothered. "Perfection is expensive, trust is free. You just have to surrender to it." He pauses, studying Theodore with those sharp, knowing eyes. "Speaking of surrender, have you been sleeping? You look tense." "Wedding week," Theodore says dismissively. "It's normal to be stressed, but it's not just stress, it's the dreams." For the past 3 nights, Theodore has dreamed of that dark-haired woman from his past, the one who made him feel wild and reckless and alive. In the dreams, she's calling to him from the beach, from the waves, from somewhere beyond his carefully constructed walls. He wakes up gasping, his heart racing, feeling like a man drowning on dry land. He's 52 years old, marrying a woman half his age, and suddenly questioning everything. Is this love? Is this enough? Or is this just another acquisition, another piece of the perfect life he's assembled like furniture in a showroom? Park watches him with unnerving perception. "You know what you need? A real party. Not a formal wedding reception. Something loose, unpredictable. My beach party tomorrow night, for instance. Very exclusive. Very transformative." "I don't do beach parties," Theodore says stiffly. "Exactly," Park says with a smile, "which is precisely why you should come. Pia too. Think of it as a pre-wedding adventure. One last night of freedom before the vows." Theodore starts to refuse, but something in him hesitates. One night. One last taste of unpredictability before locking himself into forever. "I'll think about it," he says, surprising himself. Park's smile widens. "Excellent. I'll put you on the list." Several miles down the beach in the wild dunes beyond the estates, Bobby Rizzo stands on a weathered wooden walkway, arms spread wide as he surveys their rehearsal space. The sun backlights him dramatically, creating a halo effect that he clearly finds meaningful. His 4 employees stand behind him with varying degrees of enthusiasm. "Behold," Bobby announces, "our stage, our amphitheater. Here tomorrow night we shall perfect our art." The stage is just a clearing in the dunes, surrounded by tall beach grass that whispers in the wind. The sand is soft and pale, unmarked by footprints. The ocean roars beyond the dunes, invisible but ever-present. It's actually beautiful in a wild, untamed way. Nothing like the manicured lawns and infinity pools of the estates. Sandra Lynn swats at a mosquito. "Bobby, we're going to get eaten alive out here. Can't we rehearse at someone's house?" "Art requires sacrifice," Bobby insists. "Besides, the acoustics are better on the beach. Our voices will carry. We'll be like Greek choruses singing to the gods." "We're not singing," James points out. "We're doing a dramatic reading about love through the ages. With choreography," Bobby adds. "Tommy, set up the speaker. Rachel, show them the costume sketches." Rachel pulls out her watercolor drawings. Flowing robes in cream and gold, flower crowns, sandals adorned with ribbons. They're actually quite beautiful, more Grecian goddess than cheesy toga party. I was thinking we could incorporate real flowers, she says shyly. Weave them into the fabric, make it feel organic, natural. I love it, Bobby says, his eyes misting with emotion. We'll be like wood nymphs, beach spirits, embodiments of eternal love. Tommy quietly sets up their portable speaker system, connecting it to James's iPod. They've selected classical music for their performance, something sweeping and dramatic. As the first notes of Vivaldi drift across the dunes, Bobby begins demonstrating their choreography, which involves a lot of arm waving and spinning that looks more enthusiastic than elegant. None of them notice the survey markers newly placed in the sand nearby. None of them see the equipment Park Chen's team has already begun staging behind the far dunes. None of them realize that tomorrow night, this quiet stretch of beach will transform into the Hamptons' hottest party, complete with sound systems that will drown out their classical music and crowds that will overrun their rehearsal space. They're blissfully ignorant, running through their lines while the sun sets and the sand turns pink gold in the fading light. Bobby declaims about Orpheus and Eurydice, his voice carrying across the empty beach. Sandra rolls her eyes but goes through the motions. Rachel adjusts imaginary flower crowns. James takes video on his digital camera for their promotional materials. Tommy watches it all with the quiet bewilderment of someone who never quite understands how he ended up here. As darkness falls, they pack up their equipment, satisfied with their progress. Tomorrow night they'll do the full dress rehearsal. Tomorrow night they'll perfect their performance. Tomorrow night everything will come together. Tomorrow night their world collides with forces they cannot possibly anticipate. Back in Southampton, Elena Westbrook sits on her bed scrolling through Dominic's Facebook photos, torturing herself with images of him with other women. Dominic at a yacht party, arms around two bikini-clad models. Dominic at a nightclub, champagne bottle raised in victory. Dominic living his best life, utterly unaware that she exists beyond the friend zone. But tomorrow night will be different. She's planned it carefully. She'll look stunning, mysterious, different from her usual understated self. She's bought a new dress, something daring and elegant. She'll wear her hair down instead of pulled back. Wednesday arrives like a held breath, the air thick with anticipation and humidity. The sky is cloudless, impossibly blue, the kind of perfect summer day that makes people believe in destiny. By noon, the temperature has climbed into the 90s, sending everyone who can afford it into air-conditioned refugees, or onto boats where the ocean breeze offers relief. Park Chen spends the morning at the beach site, overseeing the transformation of wild dunes into a wonderland. His crew works with military precision, stringing thousands of tiny lights through the beach grass, building the DJ booth from driftwood and steel, positioning the bar where it catches both moonlight and ocean breeze. By 2 p.m. the infrastructure is complete but invisible. It will only reveal itself after sunset, like magic materializing from nothing. Robin arrives with the black case of vials, now chilled and ready. "How are you planning to distribute these?" they ask, watching Park arrange premium liquor bottles behind the bar. "The signature cocktail is called Midsummer Magic," Park explains. "Vodka, elderflower liqueur, fresh lemon, a splash of champagne. Beautiful, refreshing, perfectly appropriate. For most people, that's all it is. But for our special guests..." He holds up a vial, watches it shimmer. A few drops of this, and the magic becomes literal. "You're sure about the targets?" "Mia Ashford, Elena Westbrook, Dominic Westbrook, Liam Carter," Park ticks off. "Plus Theodore Sutton, I convinced him to come. I want to see what happens when a man marrying for appropriate reasons gets dosed with pure emotional truth. And maybe his bride Pia, just for symmetry." "You're playing God," Robin observes. "I'm playing DJ," Park corrects with a smile. "I'm just mixing the right elements and seeing what chemistry emerges." At the Ashford mansion, Mia stands before her mirror trying on her third outfit. The jeans and simple top she'd planned suddenly feel too casual, too young. She switches to a sundress, white eyelet lace, flirty but not trying too hard. Strappy sandals, minimal jewelry, hair in loose waves. She looks beautiful without looking like she spent hours achieving it, which of course she did. Her phone buzzes. Liam, picking you up at 8? I'm nervous. Is that stupid? She types back. I'm nervous too, but we'll be together. That's all that matters. But her hands shake as she applies lip gloss. What if her father finds out? What if Dominic is there and makes a scene? What if Liam sees her in her natural environment and realizes how different their worlds really are? Across town, Eleanor Westbrook undergoes her own transformation. The new dress is midnight blue, fitted and elegant, showing curves she usually hides under oversized clothes. She's had her hair blown out professionally, sleek and sophisticated. Makeup applied by a beauty counter girl at Saks. She barely recognizes herself in the mirror, this glamorous, confident woman staring back. She texts Dominic, "See you tonight at Park's party. You're still coming, right?" His response takes 15 minutes. "Yeah, probably, might be late." It's not enthusiastic, but it's confirmation. That's enough. Tonight everything changes. Dominic Westbrook spends the afternoon on a friend's yacht, drinking beer and half listening to conversations about the stock market and real estate. He's not particularly excited about Park Chen's beach party. He's been to 100 of these things, but there's nothing better happening, and Elena seemed oddly insistent that he show up. Maybe she's finally gotten interesting. Probably not, but stranger things have happened. He doesn't change his clothes, just shows up in the jeans and polo shirt he's been wearing all day. When you're Dominic Westbrook, you don't need to try hard. Things come to you. Liam Carter finishes his lunch shift at the Azure, his best shirt hanging in the break room for tonight. It's not designer, just a fitted button-down from J. Crew that he saved up for, but it's clean and he looks good in it. His roommate offered to lend him expensive shoes, but Liam declined. He's not going to pretend to be something he's not. If Mia's world can't accept him as he is, then there's no point anyway. But his stomach twists with anxiety as he showers in the shared bathroom, as he combs his hair, as he looks at himself in the foggy mirror and wonders what the hell he's doing. A bartender from Queens crashing a party with Hamptons royalty. This is either brave or stupid, and he's not sure which. Theodore Sutton stands in his bedroom, telling himself he's not going to the party. It's ridiculous. He's getting married in 3 days. He should be home with Pia, finalizing details, being responsible. But the restlessness that's plagued him all week has intensified into something undeniable. He needs air, space, one night away from the wedding machinery. "I'm going out for a few hours," he tells Pia, keeping his tone casual. "Some networking thing. You don't need to come." "On Wednesday night?" Pia looks suspicious. "What networking thing?" Park mentioned a beach event. Very casual. Some investors will be there. The lies come easily, smoothly. He's a businessman. Negotiation is his language. Pia studies him, then shrugs. "Don't be out too late. We have the final menu tasting tomorrow at 10. He kisses her forehead, feeling like a traitor. But he goes anyway. In the dunes, Bobby Rizzo and his team arrive at 7 p.m., arms full of costumes and props and enthusiasm. The sun is just beginning to set, painting the sky in violets and pinks. "Perfect," Bobby declares. "Golden hour. The light will be amazing for our rehearsal." They don't notice the lights hidden in the beach grass, don't see the bar set up behind the far dunes, don't hear the sound check happening just out of sight. They're focused on their art, on their ridiculous, heartfelt performance about eternal love. Sandra helps Rachel distribute the costumes, flowing cream robes with real flowers woven into the fabric. They actually look magical in the fading light, like something from a dream or a painting. Tommy sets up the speakers. James prepares to film. Bobby stands at the center of their makeshift stage, arms raised to the darkening sky. "Tonight," he declares, "we become legends." As 8 p.m. approaches, cars begin arriving at the access road half a mile from the beach. Valets appear as if summoned by magic, directing guests to park and walk the rest of the way. The party location is meant to feel secret, discovered, special. You have to work slightly to get there, which makes it more exclusive. Mia and Liam arrive together in her Mercedes, both silent with nerves. Elena pulls up in her BMW, checking her makeup one final time. Dominic arrives fashionably late in a friend's Range Rover. Theodore parks his Porsche and walks toward the beach alone, feeling like a man stepping off a cliff. The sun drops below the horizon. The sky shifts from pink to purple to deep blue, and as if on cue, the lights in the dunes begin to glow. Thousands of tiny stars woven through the beach grass, outlining pathways, creating a luminous wonderland where wild nature meets human artistry. Music starts, low and hypnotic. The DJ, a famous name from New York's club scene, begins to work his magic. People emerge from the darkness, drawn by light and sound, stepping from the ordinary world into Park Chen's carefully constructed dream. The party has begun. The magic is about to be unleashed, and in the center of the dunes, Bobby Rizzo is about to have the shock of his life. The beach transforms into something between dream and reality. The lights strung through the dunes create constellations at ground level, pathways of illumination leading deeper into the wilderness. The DJ booth pulses with bass that you feel in your chest, tribal and hypnotic. Fire dances appear on the sand, spinning flames that paint orange spirals against the darkening sky. Beautiful people emerge from the shadows like creatures summoned by music. Models in flowing dresses, men in expensive casual wear, everyone moving with the languid confidence of those who belong everywhere. Park Chen stands at the center of it all, orchestrating. He wears all black tonight, nearly invisible except for his smile, bright and knowing. Robin works the bar with practiced efficiency, mixing cocktails with precision. The signature drink, Midsummer Magic, glows faintly iridescent in clear glasses, catching the firelight and moonlight in equal measure. Mia arrives with Liam, her hand tight in his. She scans the crowd nervously, recognizing faces from her father's country club, from charity galas, from Southampton society. They haven't noticed her yet, or if they have, they're politely pretending otherwise. Liam looks handsome but uncomfortable, his jaw tight, his shoulders tense. This isn't his world, and everyone can sense it. Drink? Park Chen appears beside them like smoke. You both look like you could use some liquid courage. Try the Midsummer Magic, house specialty. He hands them each a glowing cocktail. Neither notices the extra shimmer in their glasses, the few drops Robin added from those special vials. They drink gratefully, the alcohol sweet and strong, the bubbles tickling their throats. Elena arrives alone, scanning the crowd for Dominic. She looks stunning, transformed, sophisticated, nothing like the girl who usually trails after him wearing yoga pants and hope. Several men turn to look at her, their interest visible. She feels powerful, desirable, like she's finally become the woman she was meant to be. Park intercepts her too. Elena Westbrook, you look absolutely radiant. Here, you have to try this. Another Midsummer Magic, laced with chemical possibility. Elena drinks it quickly, her nerves screaming for relief. Dominic appears 20 minutes later, barely glancing around before heading straight for the bar. Park is ready. Dominic! Welcome! Start with this. Trust me, you've never tasted anything like it. I've tasted everything, Dominic says dismissively, but he takes the drink anyway. The potion slides down his throat, beginning its work in his bloodstream. Theodore Sutton walks along the beach alone, drawn by music and light, feeling absurdly young and foolish. What is he doing here? He's 52 years old, getting married in 3 days, sneaking out like a teenager, but the restlessness that brought him here intensifies as he approaches the party. As he sees the fire dancers and feels the bass vibrating through the sand, Park finds him at the edge of the crowd. Theodore, I'm so glad you came. Here, this will help you relax. The doctored cocktail pressed into his hand, consumed without question. The potion works quickly, subtly. It doesn't create feelings from nothing. Park's contact was clear about that. It amplifies what's already present, removes inhibitions, makes people hyper-responsive to emotional connection. Within 20 minutes of consumption, everyone who's been dosed begins to feel it. A warmth, an openness, a sense that anything is possible. And in the dunes beyond the main party, Bobby Rizzo and his team begin their rehearsal, completely unaware of the chaos unfolding around them. Places, people, Bobby shouts, his voice barely audible over the distant music. We're starting with the Orpheus section. Rachel, you're Eurydice. James, you're the narrator. Sandra, Tommy, you're the chorus. They're all wearing their flowing robes now, flower crowns askew, looking simultaneously ridiculous and oddly majestic in the moonlight. Bobby hits play on their portable speaker, and Vivaldi swells into the night, competing unsuccessfully with the DJ's electronic beats. From the depths of despair, James intones dramatically, reading from his script, Orpheus sang his love's name. His voice carries across the dunes, unexpectedly clear. Several partygoers hear it and look confused. Is this part of the entertainment? They begin drifting toward the sound, curious. Meanwhile, at the main party, the first disaster unfolds. Mia, feeling the potion's effects as a warm buzz and heightened emotion, sees Dominic Westbrook across the crowd. He's standing by the fire dancers, the flames painting his face in orange and gold, and he looks impossibly handsome. She's known him her whole life, never particularly noticed him beyond the social obligation. But now, with the potion singing in her veins, she sees him differently. Dominic turns, catches her eye, and smiles. Just a polite acknowledgement, but the potion transforms it into something more. An invitation, a connection, a possibility. Mia drops Liam's hand and walks toward Dominic as if pulled by invisible strings. Mia? Liam calls after her, confused. Where are you going? She doesn't answer. The music pulses, the fire spins, and Mia Ashford, who has loved Liam Carter with her whole heart for 6 months, finds herself standing in front of Dominic Westbrook, feeling like she's seeing him for the first time. You look different tonight, Dominic says, and there's something in his voice. Appreciation, interest, genuine attention. The potion works both ways. He's seeing Mia not as an obligation, not as the appropriate choice his father selected, but as a beautiful woman who's looking at him like he matters. So do you, Mia breathes. They stare at each other, the world narrowing to just this moment, this connection. Neither notices Liam standing frozen nearby, watching his girlfriend transform into a stranger. Neither sees Elena Westbrook emerging from the crowd, stopping dead when she witnesses Dominic smiling at Mia with an intensity she's dreamed of him directing at her. Elena's chest constricts with pain. No, this isn't how it's supposed to go. Mia doesn't even want him. Mia has Liam. This is wrong, all wrong. But the potion in her system amplifies the pain into something desperate. She needs to act, needs to intervene, needs to make Dominic see her instead. She starts toward them, but Bobby Rizzo's voice suddenly echoes across the dunes, and Eurydice descended into darkness, her love lost to death's embrace. The dramatic proclamation cuts through the music. More people turn toward the sound. Someone laughs. Someone else says, "What the hell is that?" A crowd begins to form, drawn by curiosity. Watching Bobby's team perform their ridiculous, heartfelt, theatrical piece in the dunes, the party attendees think it's either brilliant performance art or the most pretentious thing they've ever seen. Bobby, oblivious to his audience, continues directing. More emotion, Rachel. You're losing your eternal love. Tommy, spin more dramatically during the chorus. The two worlds, Park's sophisticated party and Bobby's amateur theatrical, begin to collide, overlapping like waves, creating chaos neither orchestrator anticipated. And the love potion continues its work, rewriting hearts and minds under the summer moon. Liam Carter stands paralyzed, watching the woman he loves gaze at Dominic Westbrook like he's the answer to every question she's ever had. The potion in his own bloodstream amplifies his confusion and hurt into something visceral, painful, world-ending. Everything he feared is manifesting before his eyes. Mia realizing she belongs with someone from her own world, someone who fits, someone who isn't a bartender from Queens pretending he belongs at Hamptons beach parties. Elena reaches them first, her voice sharp with desperation. Dominic, there you are. I've been looking everywhere for you. Dominic barely glances at her. Elena, hey. His attention stays locked on Mia, his pupils dilated, his smile genuine in a way Elena has never seen, directed anywhere near her vicinity. Did you know Mia has read all of Kerouac? We were just talking about on the road. They weren't talking about anything. They've barely exchanged 10 words. But the potion creates connection from nothing, spins possibility into certainty, makes a glance feel like destiny. Mia's dating someone, Elena says, her voice rising. She's here with Liam, remember? The bartender she's supposedly so in love with? Mia blinks as if remembering something from very far away. She looks back toward where Liam was standing, but he's disappeared into the crowd. A flutter of guilt touches her chest, then dissolves in the warmth of Dominic's attention. I don't. It's complicated, she says vaguely. It's not complicated, Elena snaps. You're using him. You're using all of us. You don't actually want Dominic. You're just doing this to rebel against your father. That's not true, Mia protests, but her voice lacks conviction. The potion has scrambled her emotions into a kaleidoscope, where nothing makes sense, but everything feels intensely real. Dominic steps closer to Elena, really looking at her for the first time tonight. The potion makes him hyper-aware of emotion, and Elena's pain crashes over him like a wave. Wait, he says slowly. Do you have feelings for me? The question hangs in the air. Elena's eyes fill with tears. Are you seriously just now noticing? I've been in love with you since we were 15 years old, Dominic. Everyone knows. Everyone except apparently you. The confession, spoken aloud after years of silent devotion, seems to echo across the beach. Several nearby partygoers turn to watch, sensing drama. Someone whispers, "Oh my God, is this real?" Dominic stares at Elena, really sees her, and the potion does its work. This girl who's been part of his landscape forever suddenly becomes visible. The way moonlight catches in her carefully styled hair. The vulnerability in her eyes. The raw honesty of her emotion. Something in him shifts, responds, awakens. "Elena," he says softly, and his voice carries something new, something like wonder. But before he can say more, Liam appears from the crowd and grabs Dominic's shoulder, spinning him around. "What the hell are you doing with my girlfriend?" "Your girlfriend?" Dominic laughs, the sound sharp and cruel. The potion amplifies his natural arrogance. "She doesn't look much like your girlfriend right now, does she?" Liam's fist connects with Dominic's jaw before anyone can react. It's not a clean punch. Liam's a bartender, not a fighter, but it's fueled by heartbreak and rage and makes solid contact. Dominic stumbles backward into the sand, blood on his lip, shock replacing smugness. The crowd gasps. Someone shouts. The music doesn't stop, but the energy shifts, everyone turning toward the fight like sharks, sensing blood and water. "You spoiled piece of shit," Liam snarls. "You have everything, and you still need to take the one thing that was mine." Dominic scrambles to his feet, wiping blood from his mouth. The potion turns his shock into irrational anger. Maybe she was never yours to begin with. They lunge at each other again, grappling in the sand. Mia screams. Elena stands frozen. Park Chen appears seemingly from nowhere, whistling sharply. 2 security guards materialize, pulling the fighting men apart. "Gentlemen," Park says coolly, though his eyes sparkle with barely concealed delight, "this is a sophisticated event. Take your testosterone elsewhere or I'll have you both removed." Liam shakes off the security guard, breathing hard, his nice shirt torn at the shoulder. He looks at Mia with devastation so raw it's painful to witness. "Is this what you want? Him?" Mia opens her mouth, closes it. The potion has tangled her thoughts into knots. She doesn't know what she wants. Everything felt so clear an hour ago. She loved Liam, was choosing him over everything. But now, standing on this moonlit beach with chemicals rewriting her neural pathways, nothing makes sense. "I don't know," she whispers. "The words destroy him." Liam turns and walks away, disappearing into the dunes, and Mia doesn't follow. She stands there crying, not understanding her own emotions, the potion creating chaos where certainty used to live. Elena watches it all unfold, her own heart fracturing. This is what she wanted. Mia and Liam breaking up, clearing the path to Dominic. But seeing Dominic look at Mia the way he looked at her, seeing the genuine connection spark between them, hurts worse than his indifference ever did. "I need a drink," Elena mutters, pushing through the crowd toward the bar. Meanwhile, Bobby Rizzo's theatrical performance reaches its crescendo. He's completely aware now of the massive audience that's gathered, at least 50 partygoers watching the rehearsal with expressions ranging from amusement to confusion to genuine interest. Rachel stands center stage in her flowing robes, arms outstretched, delivering Eurydice's final monologue. "Though death divides us," she proclaims, her voice surprisingly strong and beautiful, "love remains eternal. Though darkness falls, memory burns bright. I am yours and you are mine across every boundary, every—" "Oh my God, this is amazing," someone in the crowd says. "Is this like immersive theater? Very cutting edge." Bobby, never one to miss an opportunity, bows deeply. "We are Eternal Moments Wedding Planning, and what you've witnessed is our artistic vision. We create ceremonies that transcend mere celebration. We create art." He launches into an impromptu pitch describing their services to a captive audience of wealthy Hamptons residents. Sandra covers her face with her hands, mortified. But several people are actually taking business cards from James, intrigued by this weird, passionate performance they've stumbled upon. And in the back of the crowd, unnoticed by anyone, Theodore Sutton stands alone. The potion courses through his veins, and he's feeling things he hasn't felt in decades. The wildness of the night, the unpredictability of the music and fire and drama, the sense that life can still surprise him, can still offer something beyond controlled variables and appropriate choices. A woman brushes past him in the crowd, dark-haired and laughing, and for one heart-stopping moment he thinks she's the woman from his dreams, the woman from his past. But she's gone before he can see her face, disappearing into the throng of beautiful people, leaving him breathless and confused and desperately alive. Something is breaking open inside him, something he thought he'd buried forever. The night spirals further into beautiful chaos. The DJ, sensing the crowd's energy shift, adjusts his music. Something darker now, more primal, bass that throbs like a heartbeat. More people arrive, word spreading through text messages and phone calls that Park Chen's party has become something legendary, something people will talk about for years. The beach swells with bodies moving to music, drinking glowing cocktails, surrendering to the strange magic saturating the air. Liam wanders alone through the dunes beyond the main party, his chest tight with betrayal. The potion in his system amplifies every emotion until he feels skinless, raw. 6 months with Mia. 6 months of believing their love transcended class and money and social boundaries. 6 months of being wrong. He collapses onto the sand near where Bobby's theatrical troupe is packing up their props, his head in his hands. Rachel notices him first, this young man in his torn shirt, clearly suffering. The mothering instinct that made her a beloved art teacher kicks in automatically. "Honey, are you okay?" she asks gently, sitting beside him in her flowing cream robe. "I'm an idiot," Liam says, his voice breaking. "I actually thought she loved me, thought I was enough." Rachel doesn't know the context, but understands heartbreak in every language. "You are enough. Anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve you." Liam looks up at her, this kind stranger in moonlight and flowers, and the potion does its terrible work. Her compassion feels like salvation. Her attention feels like love. Without thinking, driven by chemicals and desperation, and the human need to be seen, he leans forward and kisses her. Rachel jerks back, shocked. "Whoa! Hey! I'm old enough to be your mother." "I'm sorry," Liam gasps. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what... I'm not usually..." Bobby appears, having witnessed the kiss, his face red with indignation. "What do you think you're doing? That's harassment. That's assault. I should call security." "Bobby, calm down," Rachel says, though she's flustered. "He's clearly going through something. He's upset." "I don't care if he's upset. You can't just go around kissing people without consent." Bobby pulls out his cell phone. "I'm calling..." "Wait, who do I call? Park Chen? The police?" Sandra intercedes, her pragmatism cutting through Bobby's dramatics. "Nobody's calling anyone." The kid apologized. "Rachel's fine. Let's just pack up and get out of here before this party gets any weirder." But weird is just beginning. Back at the main party, Theodore Sutton searches for the dark-haired woman he glimpsed. The potion has unlocked something in him, a hunger for the wild, the unpredictable, the passionate life he abandoned for security. He moves through the crowd like a man possessed, scanning faces, feeling more alive than he has in 20 years. He finds her near the fire dancers. She's not the woman from his past, younger, different features. But there's something in the way she moves, the way she laughs, that reminds him of that lost wildness. Her name is Sophie, a fashion editor from Manhattan, and when Theodore approaches her with uncharacteristic spontaneity, suggesting they walk along the beach, she agrees with an intrigued smile. They disappear into the darkness beyond the firelight, two strangers bound by chemistry and opportunity, and Theodore feels like he's shedding a skin. He's supposed to marry Pia in 3 days. He's supposed to be the responsible one, the controlled one. But right now, walking along the moonlit beach with this stranger, he feels gloriously, terrifyingly free. Meanwhile, Elena stands at the bar accepting her third midsummer magic from Robin, who pours with a knowing smile. The potion layered on potion creates a feedback loop of heightened emotion. Elena feels electric, uncontained, capable of anything. She spots Dominic sitting alone on a driftwood log, holding ice to his split lip. The fight with Liam has sobered him slightly, but the potion still sings in his blood. Elena approaches with new confidence, sits beside him without asking permission. "Does it hurt?" she asks. "My pride more than my face," Dominic admits. He looks at her, really looks, and sees things he never noticed before. The elegant line of her neck, the intelligence in her eyes, the way she's loved him quietly for a decade without demanding anything in return. "Why didn't you tell me about how you felt?" "Would it have mattered?" Elena asks. "You've always looked right through me." "I'm looking now," Dominic says softly. The potion makes him honest in ways he's never been. "And I'm seeing things I should have seen years ago." "You're beautiful, Elena. How did I miss that?" Elena's heart hammers. This is everything she's dreamed of. But the potion also makes her suspicious, hyper-aware. "You were looking at Mia the exact same way 20 minutes ago. So which is real?" Dominic opens his mouth, closes it. He doesn't know. The potion has scrambled his certainty. Does he want Mia? Elena? Both? Neither. Everything feels equally real and equally impossible. "I don't know," he confesses. I don't know what tonight is." Elena laughs, the sound edged with hysteria. "It's a disaster. That's what tonight is." She stands to leave, but Dominic catches her hand. "Don't go. Please. I know I'm an idiot, but stay. Help me figure this out." And because she's loved him for 10 years, because the potion amplifies hope into certainty, Elena stays. Mia wanders the party alone, her earlier confidence shattered. The potion has created emotional whiplash. One moment she's convinced she loves Dominic. The next she's devastated about Liam. She sees couples everywhere, locked in embraces, lost in connection, and feels profoundly alone despite being surrounded by hundreds of people. She catches sight of Liam in the distance, talking to the woman in the flowing robe, and jealousy spikes through her. Who is that? Why is he with someone else? But she has no right to be jealous, does she? She's the one who let go of his hand. She's the one who looked at Dominic like he mattered. Park Chen observes it all from his position near the DJ booth, cataloging the chaos with satisfaction. His party has transcended mere event. It's become a social experiment, a crucible where pretenses burn away and raw truth emerges. Maybe it's cruel. Maybe it's brilliant. Maybe it's both. Robin sidles up beside him. "You realize you've created complete disaster?" "I've created possibility," Park corrects. "Look at them. All these carefully constructed personas falling apart. All these appropriate relationships revealing their cracks. This is what happens when you strip away control and let people feel. Some of them are going to hate you tomorrow." "Tomorrow doesn't concern me," Park says with a smile. "Tonight is my masterpiece." The moon climbs higher, impossibly bright. The party pulses like a living thing, and somewhere in the chaos, hearts continue breaking and reforming in new configurations. Love following its own chaotic mathematics, under the influence of chemistry and moonlight, and Park Chen's terrible, beautiful magic. 3 a.m. arrives like a question mark. The party has reached that liminal hour where night hasn't quite surrendered to dawn, where inhibitions have completely dissolved, where everything feels simultaneously more real and less real than it did hours ago. The potion's effects are peaking in some, beginning to fade in others, creating a disorienting cocktail of clarity and confusion. Mia finds Liam near the dunes, sitting alone in the sand, staring at the ocean. She approaches cautiously, the earlier certainty about Dominic already feeling like a fever dream. Was that real? Did she really look at Dominic Westbrook like he was the answer to everything? The memory feels foreign, like watching someone else's life. Liam, she says quietly, can we talk? He looks up at her, his eyes red-rimmed and exhausted. The potion is wearing thin in his system, leaving behind a hangover of confusion. I don't even know what to say to you, Mia. You looked at him like I don't exist, like these 6 months meant nothing. I don't know what happened, Mia says desperately, sitting beside him. Something about tonight. Everything feels wrong, feels strange, like I'm not myself. Or maybe you're finally being yourself, Liam says bitterly. Maybe without your father watching, without the rebellion aspect, you're realizing I'm not what you want. That's not true. But even as she says it, Mia feels uncertain. What is true? What does she actually want? The potion has scrambled her internal compass so thoroughly she can't find north. They sit in silence, the ocean roaring its eternal rhythm, neither knowing how to bridge the chasm that's opened between them. Further down the beach, Dominic and Elena walk along the waterline, their shoes in their hands, waves washing over their feet. The conversation between them has turned serious, intimate, stripped of the usual social performances. I've wasted so much time, Dominic says, and there's genuine regret in his voice. Chasing girls who didn't matter, playing games, being exactly what everyone expected, the careless trust fund kid who treats people like accessories. You can change, Elena offers, wanting desperately to believe it. Can I? Dominic stops walking, turns to face her. Or is this just tonight? Just whatever's in the air making me say things I'll regret tomorrow? It's the most honest question he's ever asked, and Elena respects him more for asking it than for any declaration of love. I don't know, she admits. Maybe we're all just under some weird spell tonight. Maybe tomorrow we wake up and everything goes back to normal. Would that be so bad? Dominic asks. Normal? Elena thinks about her normal, loving him silently, watching him with other women, accepting whatever crumbs of attention he threw her way. Yes, she says firmly. Normal would be terrible. At least tonight I told you the truth. At least tonight you actually saw me. Dominic reaches for her hand, holds it gently. I'm seeing you, he says. I'm trying to see you. It's not a promise, it's not even a commitment. But it's something, and Elena holds onto it like a lifeline. Theodore Sutton sits on a dune with Sophie the fashion editor, both of them watching the party wind down below. They've talked for hours about art and travel and the lives they imagined versus the lives they're living. She's 32, divorced, cynical about love but open to possibility. He's told her nothing about his impending wedding, has let himself pretend for one night that he's someone else entirely. This was nice, Sophie says, standing and brushing sand from her dress. Strange, but nice. I should get back before my friends leave without me. Theodore wants to ask for her number, wants to extend this fantasy beyond tonight, but reality is creeping in around the edges. In 3 days he's marrying Pia Montenegro in front of 300 guests. This night, this strange, magical night, has to end. Thank you, he says instead, for reminding me what it feels like to be spontaneous. Sophie smiles, kisses his cheek, and walks away. Theodore sits alone as the first hint of dawn touches the eastern sky, feeling like a man waking from a dream into a nightmare of his own construction. Bobby Rizzo and his team have given up on packing and instead joined the party, their theatrical robes making them look like ancient priests wandering through a modern bacchanal. Bobby has handed out dozens of business cards, convinced they've made valuable connections. Rachel has forgiven Liam for the unwanted kiss, chalking it up to youth and heartbreak and the general strangeness of the evening. They're all exhausted but exhilarated, feeling like they've participated in something historic. "We should do performance art at parties," Bobby declares to anyone who'll listen. "This is the future of wedding planning. Immersive, theatrical experiences." Sandra just wants to go home and sleep for 12 hours. Park Chen surveys his kingdom as it begins to dissolve. Guests are calling for cars, stumbling toward the parking area, their perfect outfits rumpled and sandy. The DJ plays his final set, something mellow and dreamlike. The fire dancers have extinguished their flames. Dawn approaches like a judgment. Robin appears beside him. "So, was it everything you hoped?" Park watches Mia and Liam sitting separately in the sand, both miserable. Watches Elena and Dominic walking together, but uncertain. Watches Theodore Sutton sitting alone looking lost. "It was chaos," he says with satisfaction. "Beautiful, necessary chaos. And when they wake up tomorrow, when the potion wears off completely, and they remember everything they said and did, then they'll have to decide," Park says, "which feelings were real and which were chemical, which connections matter and which were just the magic of one strange night. That's the interesting part, untangling truth from enchantment." "You're a chaos agent disguised as a party planner," Robin observes. "The best parties always destroy something," Park says. "The question is whether they create something better in the destruction." The sky lightens from black to deep blue to pale gray. The ocean becomes visible, endless and indifferent. One by one, the party guests depart, carrying with them the strange magic of the night, wondering if any of it was real. Thursday morning arrives with punishing sunlight and the kind of clarity that makes the previous night feel like shared psychosis. Across the Hamptons, people wake in their beds with fragmented memories and pounding headaches, reaching for their phones to piece together what actually happened at Park Chen's legendary beach party. Mia wakes in her childhood bedroom, still wearing her sandy white dress, mascara smeared across her silk pillowcase. Her phone shows 17 missed calls from her mother and a single text from Liam, sent at 4 a.m. "I need time to think. Please don't contact me." The words feel like a knife. She scrolls through her own sent messages from last night and finds texts she doesn't remember writing. One to Dominic, "You make me feel alive." Another to Elena, "I'm sorry for everything." Another to Liam, "I love you, but I'm so confused." She runs to the bathroom and vomits, though whether from alcohol or shame is impossible to distinguish. What happened to her? She's never acted that way. Flighty, disloyal, cruel to someone she loves. It's like she was possessed by someone else's emotions. Across town, Dominic Westbrook wakes in his own bed, with a split lip and fuzzy memories of kissing Elena Westbrook. Elena, his childhood friend. The girl who's always been there, always been invisible. Except last night she wasn't invisible. She was radiant, vulnerable, heartbreakingly honest. He picks up his phone and finds a voice memo he recorded to himself at 2 a.m., his own slurred voice saying, "Remember this. Remember how she made you feel. Don't fuck this up like you fuck up everything else." Advice from drunk Dominic. That's a first. He texts Elena, "Are you okay? Last night was..." He deletes it. Starts again. "I meant what I said last night." Deletes that too. Finally settles on, "Coffee? We should talk." Her response comes immediately, like she's been waiting. Bluebird Cafe. 1 hour. Elena sits at her vanity, studying her reflection. She looks exhausted but different somehow. More substantial, more real. For years she's been a ghost haunting the periphery of Dominic's life. Last night she became visible. The question is whether that visibility survives daylight. She showers, dresses carefully but casually, applies minimal makeup. Whatever happens at coffee, she wants to face it as herself, not as some polished version she thinks he wants. Theodore Sutton stands in his study at 7 a.m., still wearing last night's clothes, staring at his phone. Pia has called 6 times. The wedding coordinator has called twice. His assistant has sent urgent emails about today's menu tasting. And he's paralyzed by the memory of walking on the beach with Sophie, feeling free and alive and completely wrong about every choice he's made. When Pia finally appears in the doorway, Her face is a mask of controlled fury. "Where were you?" "I called. I texted. You didn't come home until dawn." "I went to Park's party," Theodore says, too tired to lie convincingly. "It ran late." "You smell like perfume," Pia says coldly. "Not mine." The accusation hangs between them. Theodore could deny it, could craft some explanation. Instead he asks, "Are we making a mistake?" Pia's perfect composure cracks. "What? This wedding? This marriage? Are we doing this for the right reasons?" The potion's effects have faded, but the questions it unlocked remain. "Do you love me, Pia? Really love me? Or am I just the appropriate choice? The successful older man with the oceanfront estate?" "How dare you?" Pia whispers, her eyes filling with tears. "How dare you question this 2 days before our wedding? 2 days before 300 guests arrive. I'm not trying to hurt you." "Then what are you trying to do? Sabotage us? Ruin everything we've built?" Pia's voice rises, years of maintaining perfect composure finally fracturing. "I've spent 6 months planning this wedding. 6 months making everything perfect. And now you decide to have a crisis?" Theodore has no answer that won't make things worse. Pia turns and walks out, her footsteps sharp against marble floors. Somewhere in the house, a door slams with finality. At the Azure restaurant, Liam shows up for his lunch shift, looking like he hasn't slept. Marcus takes one look at him and says, "That bad, huh? I don't want to talk about it." Girl drama is the worst, man. Especially Hamptons girl drama. But it's not just drama, it's devastation. Liam replays the night in fragments, Mia looking at Dominic with stars in her eyes, the humiliation of watching her forget he existed, his own bizarre behavior, including kissing that older woman in the strange costume. What was in those drinks? His phone buzzes. A text from Mia. "Please, I need to explain. Nothing that happened makes sense. Can we talk?" He stares at the message for a long time. Part of him wants to run back to her, wants to believe last night was an aberration. But a larger part, the part that's been insecure about their relationship from the beginning, wonders if last night revealed the truth, that Mia Ashford belongs with someone like Dominic Westbrook, and Liam Carter was just a summer rebellion. He doesn't respond. At the Bluebird Cafe, Dominic and Elena sit across from each other with untouched lattes between them. The cafe is nearly empty, just locals grabbing morning coffee, no one from their social circle to witness this conversation. "So," Dominic says finally, "last night was real," Elena finishes. "For me, at least. I don't know about you." Dominic runs his hand through his hair, frustrated with himself. "I don't know what was real. Everything felt so intense, so certain. But this morning..." He trails off, unable to articulate the confusion. "But this morning you're wondering if it was just the party, just the moment, just something in the air," Elena supplies. She's been expecting this, has armored herself against it. "I understand. You're Dominic Westbrook. I'm just Elena. This doesn't make sense in the real world." "That's not what I'm saying." "Then what are you saying?" Elena challenges. "Because I told you the truth last night. I've loved you for 10 years. And if you're going to sit here and tell me last night was a mistake, that you were drunk or confused or caught up in the moment, then just say it. Don't make it worse by being gentle." Dominic meets her eyes, sees the strength there that he never noticed before. This girl, this woman, has loved him selflessly for a decade, has asked for nothing, has been loyal when he didn't deserve loyalty. And last night, for a few hours, he saw her clearly. "I don't think it was a mistake," he says carefully. "But I also don't trust myself. I've never been good at this, at feelings, at commitment, at seeing people clearly. What if I hurt you? What if I'm not capable of being what you need?" It's the most honest thing he's ever said, and Elena loves him more for the honesty than for any declaration. "Then we'll figure it out," she says, "together, if you're willing to try." Thursday afternoon brings a strange reckoning. Park Chen sits in his glass house, scrolling through social media where photos from last night's party are already going viral. Hashtags trending, Midsummer magic, us Hamptons, night's best party ever. But also, what was in those drinks? Did anyone else feel weird? Something was off. Robin enters with coffee and concern. People are asking questions about the cocktails, about why everyone acted out of character. People always act out of character at good parties, Park says dismissively. That's the point. No, Park, this is different. I've got 3 people texting me asking if we drugged them. One person is threatening to call the police. Park's expression hardens. The substance was legal, technically, and everyone consumed it voluntarily. You didn't tell them what was in it, Robin points out. That's consent issues, that's liability, that's potentially criminal. For the first time, Park looks uncertain. His masterpiece is turning into a nightmare of legal complications. What do you suggest? Make it go away. Blame it on the atmosphere, the moon, the music, the champagne. Gaslight them into thinking it was all just a wild night with no chemical enhancement. Robin's voice is sharp. And never ever do something like this again. Park nods slowly. His game has consequences he didn't fully anticipate. Control, he's discovering, is truly an illusion. At the Ashford mansion, Mia finally gets a response from Liam. Not a text. He shows up at her door at 3 p.m., looking exhausted and determined. I need answers, he says without preamble. Real answers. What happened last night? Mia leads him to the pool house where they can talk privately. I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out all day. One minute I was happy to be there with you. The next I was looking at Dominic like he was the only person in the world. It didn't feel like me. But maybe it was you, Liam says quietly. Maybe whatever was in those drinks just lowered your inhibitions enough to show what you really want. That's not true. Then prove it, Liam challenges. Your father wants you to marry Dominic. Everyone in your world thinks I'm inappropriate. Last night you had permission to feel what you've maybe been suppressing, and you immediately gravitated towards someone from your own class. That means something, Mia. Mia feels tears sliding down her cheeks. I love you. That's what means something. Whatever happened last night, it wasn't real. This is real. Liam wants to believe her. God, he wants to believe her. But trust, once cracked, is hard to repair. I need time, he says finally. I need to think about whether I can do this, whether I can be with someone whose family will always see me as not good enough. Liam, please. Time, he repeats and walks away, leaving Mia sobbing by the pool. At Theodore Sutton's estate, an emergency meeting is underway. Pia, Theodore, and the wedding coordinator sit in the living room surrounded by vendor contracts and seating charts. Pia's mother has flown in from São Paulo, her face tight with disapproval. This is unacceptable, Mrs. Montenegro says in heavily accented English. You embarrass my daughter 2 days before the wedding? You question your commitment publicly? I questioned it privately, Theodore corrects wearily. Nothing is private in the Hamptons, the wedding coordinator interjects. Already I've had 3 guests call asking if the wedding is still happening. Pia sits perfectly still, her hands folded in her lap, her expression unreadable. Finally she speaks. Do you want to marry me, Theodore? Yes or no? The question is so direct, so unadorned, that Theodore is forced to confront it honestly. He looks at Pia. Truly beautiful, truly accomplished, truly appropriate. A woman any man would be lucky to have. And he feel what? Affection, respect, companionship, but not passion, not wildness, not the kind of love that makes you feel alive even as it destroys you. I want to, he says carefully. Pia's laugh is sharp and bitter. That's not an answer. It's the only honest answer I have. Pia stands, her composure cracking into something raw and real. I deserve better than someone who wants to marry me. I deserve passion and certainty and all-consuming love, not this lukewarm commitment. Pia, her mother starts. No, Maman, he's right to question this. I've been questioning it too. I've been so focused on the wedding, the perfect dress, the perfect flowers, the perfect everything, that I forgot to ask if we're actually perfect for each other. She looks at Theodore with sudden clarity. We're not, are we? Theodore shakes his head slowly. No, we're not. The wedding coordinator looks like she might faint. But the guests, the deposits, the orchids from Thailand. Cancel it, Pia says firmly. Cancel everything. I'm not marrying someone who's in love with the idea of control more than he's in love with me. She walks out with her mother following, leaving Theodore alone with the ruins of his carefully constructed life. And strangely, instead of devastation, he feels relief, like he's been holding his breath for months and can finally exhale. As evening falls, Dominic and Elena drive along Dune Road, windows down, not talking, just being together. They've spent hours at the cafe, then walking on the beach, then getting ice cream like teenagers. It's been the most ordinary, most extraordinary day of Elena's life. I don't know what I'm doing, Dominic admits as they park overlooking the ocean. I've never done this, the real thing, the honest thing. Neither have I, Elena says. I've only loved you from a distance. Up close might be completely different. Is it? Dominic asks. Different? Elena considers. Scarier, better, more real. Dominic reaches for her hand, holds it gently. I want to try to be better, to actually deserve someone like you. It's not a declaration of love. It's not a guarantee, but it's a beginning, and that's more than Elena ever dared hope for. The sun sets over the Hamptons, turning the sky gold and crimson. Tomorrow is the rehearsal dinner that's no longer happening. Saturday is the wedding that's been cancelled, and somewhere in the ruins of last night's magic, real life is trying to reassemble itself into new patterns. Friday morning dawns gray and overcast, as if the weather itself is reflecting the collective hangover of the Hamptons social scene. The Theodore Sutton wedding, the event of the season, has been officially cancelled. Within hours, everyone knows. The gossip spreads like wildfire through country clubs and beach clubs, over tennis courts and yacht decks, in text messages and hushed phone conversations. Bobby Rizzo reads about it in the Southampton press while eating breakfast at a diner. The wedding's off, he announces to his team, who've gathered for a post-mortem of Wednesday night. Sutton and Montenegro, cancelled. Sandra drops her fork. What? But the rehearsal dinner is tonight. We're supposed to perform tonight. Not anymore, Bobby says, scrolling through the article on his BlackBerry. Says here it was mutual. They realized they weren't right for each other. Very amicable. He pauses, processing. Which means we don't get our big debut. We don't get our moment in front of 300 influential people. Rachel puts a comforting hand on his arm. We had our moment Wednesday night. Remember, all those people watching our performance on the beach. We handed out so many cards. To drunk party people who probably threw them away, Bobby says miserably. But James pulls out his laptop, opens their business email. Actually, we've gotten 12 inquiries since Wednesday. People asking about our theatrical ceremony services. One guy wants us to do a full Greek mythology-themed wedding in September. Bobby's eyes widen. 12 inquiries? 12, James confirms. Our weird beach performance? It worked. People thought we were innovative, avant-garde. For the first time since Wednesday night, Bobby smiles. We're avant-garde wedding planners. I love it. Their ridiculous gamble paid off in ways they never anticipated. Sometimes chaos creates opportunity. At the Ashford mansion, Gregory Ashford sits across from his daughter at the breakfast table, reading the same news. The Sutton wedding is cancelled, he says, which means the Westbrook arrangement becomes even more important. The social calendar has a gap. We could announce your engagement to Dominic next week, have the wedding in August. Dad, stop, Mia interrupts. I'm not marrying Dominic. Mia, we discussed this. No, you discussed it. You decided it, without asking what I want. Mia's voice is steady, stronger than it's ever been. I'm 22 years old. I get to choose who I love, and I choose Liam. Gregory's face darkens. Then you choose poverty. Choose working-class struggle. Choose throwing away every advantage you were born with. Maybe, Mia says. Or maybe I choose real love instead of a business transaction. Maybe I choose building something of my own instead of inheriting something of yours. You're being naive. I'm being honest, Mia says. For the first time in my life, I'm being completely honest about what I want. And if that means you cut me off, then cut me off. I'll figure it out. She stands, walks out of the room, her heart pounding with terror and exhilaration. She has no plan, no safety net, no idea how to actually live without her father's money. But she has clarity. And right now, that's enough. She drives to the Azure, walks in during the lunch rush, finds Liam behind the bar. He looks up, sees her, and his expression is complicated. Hope and hurt tangled together. "Can we talk?" Mia asks. "Please." Liam glances at Marcus, who nods. "Take your break, man." They walk out to the beach behind the restaurant, the gray sky making the ocean look almost black. The wind whips Mia's hair across her face. She shivers in her thin cardigan. "I told my father I'm choosing you," she says without preamble. "I told him to cut me off if he wants. I don't care. I'm choosing you, Liam. If you'll still have me." Liam stares at her. "You told him that? Really?" "Really. I know Wednesday night was a disaster. I know I hurt you. I don't even fully understand what happened. Something about that party made everyone act crazy. But when I woke up Thursday morning, the only thing I was certain about was that I love you. Not Dominic, not anyone else. You. Your father will actually cut you off?" "Probably," Mia admits. "Which means I need to figure out how to support myself. Get a real job, not just volunteer work. Maybe take out student loans. I don't know how any of it works, honestly, but I'll learn." Liam sees the sincerity in her eyes, the vulnerability, the courage it took for a girl who's never had to worry about money to choose love over security. He steps closer, cups her face in his hands. "You're sure?" he asks. "Because I can't go through Wednesday night again. Can't watch you look at someone else like I don't exist." "I'm sure," Mia says. Whatever was in those drinks made everything confusing. But underneath the confusion, underneath everything, it's always been you. Liam kisses her, soft and certain, and it feels like coming home. The gray sky doesn't matter. The canceled wedding doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is this: two people choosing each other despite every obstacle. When they break apart, Mia laughs. "I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never even balanced a checkbook." "I'll teach you," Liam says. "And you can teach me how to navigate your world without feeling like an imposter." "Deal," Mia says and kisses him again. Across town, Theodore Sutton sits alone in his study, staring at the framed photo he'd hidden in a drawer, the dark-haired woman from his past. He finally remembers her name, Julia. She was a photographer, wild and unpredictable, and she made him feel alive in ways no one has since. He picks up his phone, does something he hasn't done in 20 years. He searches for her. And after an hour of detective work, social media, professional directories, old contacts, he finds her. Julia Reeves, living in Portland, still working as a photographer, still single according to her Facebook status. His finger hovers over the message button. What would he even say? "Remember me? I'm the guy who chose money over you 20 years ago, and I've regretted it ever since." But Wednesday night taught him something. Life is too short for appropriate choices that make you miserable. Sometimes you have to chase the wild thing, even if it destroys you. He types, "Julia, it's Theodore Sutton. I know it's been 20 years, but I've been thinking about you, about us, about the choice I made. I'm wondering if it's too late to make a different one." He hits send before he can second-guess himself. Friday evening settles over the Hamptons with unexpected peace. Where there should have been a rehearsal dinner with champagne toasts and elaborate performances, there's instead a strange quiet, the kind that follows a storm, when everything has been rearranged and people are still figuring out the new landscape. Pia Montenegro sits on the deck of a friend's beach house in Montauk, far from Southampton's gossip mill. Her friend Lisa pours her wine and asks the question everyone wants to know, "Are you okay?" "I'm better than okay," Pia says, surprising herself with the truth of it. "I'm relieved." "Relieved? Your wedding just got cancelled 2 days before." "A wedding I was planning out of momentum, not love," Pia interrupts. "Lisa, when was the last time Theodore and I had a real conversation? When did we last laugh together? We were playing parts. The successful older man, the beautiful younger wife. Perfect on paper, empty in reality." Lisa refills both their glasses. "So what now?" Pia looks out at the ocean, at the endless possibilities of water and horizon. Now I figure out what I actually want. Not what looks good on Instagram, not what my mother expects. What I want. She pauses. Maybe I go back to Brazil for a while, reconnect with who I was before I became Theodore Sutton's fiancé. That sounds healthy, Lisa says, and brave. Or terrified, Pia admits. But Wednesday night taught me something. That strange party where everything went sideways. I danced with people I didn't know. I laughed without worrying how it looked. I felt free for the first time in months. And I realized I've been building a cage and calling it a castle. She raises her glass. To freedom. Even when it's terrifying. They toast as the sun sets, painting the sky in shades of liberation. At a small Italian restaurant in Sag Harbor, Dominic and Elena share dinner. It's their third date in 3 days. If you can call them dates when they've known each other their entire lives. But something has shifted. The performance is gone. The pretense has dissolved. They're just two people trying to figure out if what started in chemical chaos can survive in sober reality. My father asked about you today, Dominic says, twirling pasta on his fork. He said he saw us together at the market. Asked if we were dating. What did you tell him? Elena asks carefully. I said I was trying to deserve you, Dominic admits. He seemed shocked. Said it was the most mature thing he'd ever heard me say. Elena smiles. That's because it is. I'm serious though, Dominic says, putting down his fork. I know my reputation. I know I've been careless with people's feelings, including yours. If we're doing this, actually doing this, I need to be different. Better. You're already different, Elena observes. The old Dominic wouldn't have this conversation. He'd make a joke and change the subject. The old Dominic was an idiot, Dominic says. The new Dominic is trying very hard not to screw up the best thing that's ever happened to him. Elena reaches across the table, takes his hand. We'll screw up, both of us. That's how relationships work. But as long as we're honest about it, as long as we actually talk to each other, we'll figure it out. Dominic lifts her hand to his lips, kisses it gently. When did you get so wise? I've had 10 years to think about what I'd say if you ever actually paid attention. Elena says wryly, I'm prepared. They laugh, and it feels easy, real, like something that might actually last. At Theodore's estate, workers dismantle the wedding tent. The white peaks come down, the chairs get loaded onto trucks, the elaborate floral plans get cancelled. Theodore oversees it all with strange calm, watching his expensive mistake get packed away. His phone buzzes, a response from Julia after 6 hours of anxious waiting. Theodore Sutton. Wow, that's a name I never thought I'd see again. I'm not sure what to say. You broke my heart 20 years ago, left me for someone more appropriate. Why now? Theodore types carefully. Because I've spent 20 years trying to build the perfect life, and this week I realized it's all been a monument to cowardice. I chose safety over passion, control over chaos, and I've been miserable. I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but I'm wondering if you'd be willing to talk. Just talk. I need to apologize for the man I was and show you the man I'm trying to become. Her response comes faster this time. I'm in Portland, you're in the Hamptons. That's a conversation that requires more than texting. Theodore doesn't hesitate. I'll fly out tomorrow. If you're willing to have coffee with me, I'll be on the first plane. The 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally, coffee, Saturday afternoon. But Theodore, don't expect anything. I'm not the girl you left behind. I've built a whole life without you. I know, he types back. I just need to apologize in person. The rest is up to you. He books a flight, feeling like a man who's been sleepwalking for 20 years and has finally woken up. Park Chen meets with his lawyer Friday night, discussing potential liability from Wednesday's party. The lawyer is blunt. If anyone files a complaint about being drugged without consent, you're looking at criminal charges. Best case scenario, they can't prove anything and it goes away. Worst case, you're facing jail time. It was legal, Park insists. Legal to possess, maybe. Not legal to administer without informed consent. The lawyer closes his briefcase. My advice, lay low, don't throw any parties for a while. And pray no one decides to make this a bigger issue. Park nods, but he's not afraid. Wednesday night was worth whatever consequences follow. He watched carefully constructed social orders collapse. Watched people choose authenticity over appropriateness. Watched magic, real magic, not the chemical kind, emerge from chaos. Sometimes you have to break things to see what they're really made of. Robin finds him on the deck afterward. Are you going to stop? The parties, the experiments, the chaos? Park considers. For a while, but eventually. No. The world needs chaos, needs someone to shake up the carefully controlled performances everyone calls life. Wednesday night gave people permission to feel. That's not something I regret. Even if people got hurt, especially then, Park says, sometimes hurt is the price of truth, and truth is always worth the cost. The moon rises over the Hamptons, waning now but still bright, and across the peninsula people sleep in new configurations, dream new dreams, wake to new possibilities. Saturday arrives with brilliant sunshine, as if the universe has decided to reward honesty with perfect weather. The day that should have been Theodore Sutton's wedding becomes instead a day of new beginnings, scattered across the country like seeds carried on the wind. Theodore sits on a plane to Portland, his hands shaking slightly as they hold a coffee he's not drinking. He has no plan beyond apologizing, no expectation beyond being heard. For a man who's built his life on controlling variables, this surrender to uncertainty feels both terrifying and exhilarating. The businessman beside him asks if he's traveling for work. No, Theodore says. I'm chasing something I should have chased 20 years ago. The man nods knowingly. Better late than never. Theodore hopes that's true. In Southampton, Mia moves boxes out of her childhood bedroom into Liam's modest apartment above a garage. It's a shocking downgrade. From a walk-in closet the size of most apartments to a single room with a hot plate and a shared bathroom. Her mother watches from the doorway, crying silently. Her father is notably absent, still processing his daughter's rebellion. Are you sure about this? Patricia asks for the 10th time. I'm terrified, Mia admits, looking around at the tiny space that will be her new home. But I'm sure. This is real, Mom. Everything else was just performance. Liam carries in the last box, looking uncomfortable under Patricia's scrutiny. But Mia takes his hand, stands beside him with certainty, and something in Patricia's expression softens. Maybe she remembers what it was like to be young and in love before life became about maintaining appearances. Call me if you need anything, Patricia says quietly. Your father will come around, eventually. After she leaves, Mia and Liam stand in their tiny apartment, and start laughing. This is insane, Mia says. I have no idea how to cook or clean or do laundry. Good thing I do, Liam says, pulling her close. We'll figure it out together. And somehow, in that cramped space that smells faintly of motor oil from the garage below, Mia feels more at home than she ever did in her mansion. Elena and Dominic spend Saturday on his family's boat, just the two of them, talking about everything and nothing. They're taking it slow, learning each other without the performance of their social circle watching. Dominic tells her about his fears, that he's too damaged by his privileged upbringing to ever be a good partner. Elena tells him about her insecurities, that she's built so much of her identity around loving him that she's not sure who she is without that longing. So we're both messes, Dominic summarizes. Completely, Elena agrees. Want to be messes together? Elena kisses him, soft and certain. Yes. It's not a fairy tale ending. It's better, a real beginning, messy and uncertain and honest. Bobby Rizzo's phone rings for the 14th time that day. Another client inquiry. Another couple who saw the viral videos from Wednesday night's beach performance and wants something theatrical and unique for their wedding. Sandra has started a spreadsheet to track leads. Rachel is sketching costume concepts. James is building a professional website. Tommy, quiet as always, watches them all with something like pride. We're actually doing this, Bobby says, wonder in his voice. We're avant-garde wedding planners. We're artists. We're still ridiculous, Sandra points out, but she's smiling. The best art is always a little ridiculous, Bobby declares. Now let's talk about incorporating fire dancers into ceremonies. In Portland, Theodore sits across from Julia at a coffee shop near Powell's Books. She's 50 now, her dark hair shot through with silver, lines around her eyes that weren't there before. She's more beautiful than he remembers, more real. "You look good," she says. "Rich agrees with you." "I look empty," Theodore corrects. Money buys comfort, not fulfillment. Julia stirs her coffee, studying him. "So you almost married someone else, and at the last minute remembered I existed?" "That's not flattering, Theodore." I know it's 20 years too late. I know I have no right to any of your time or attention." Theodore's voice cracks with emotion he's suppressed for decades. "But Julia, you need to know. Leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life. Every choice I made after that was trying to fill the hole you left, and nothing did, nothing could." Julia's eyes glisten. "You destroyed me. You know that? You made me believe in us, in the life we could build together. And then you chose money and security and some woman your parents approved of." "I was a coward," Theodore says simply. "I let fear win, and I've spent 20 years living with that choice." They sit in silence, the coffee shop bustling around them with people living their ordinary lives. Finally, Julia speaks. "I'm not the same person you left behind. I'm not going to abandon my life here because you've decided to have a midlife crisis." "I'm not asking you to," Theodore says. "I'm just asking for a chance to know you again, to see if there's anything left worth exploring. No pressure, no expectations, just possibility." Julia looks at him for a long moment. "Coffee," she says. "We can have coffee. Talk, catch up. After that," she shrugs, "we'll see. It's not forgiveness. It's not reconciliation. But it's a door opened instead of slammed shut, and Theodore will take it." As evening falls on the Hamptons, Park Chen walks along the beach where Wednesday's magic unfolded. The lights are gone, the speakers dismantled, the bar packed away. Just sand and ocean and the eternal rhythm of waves. Robin walks beside him, hands in pockets. "Any regrets?" Robin asks. Park considers. "About the potion. Maybe about the chaos. Never. Look what came from it. People made real choices. Chose authenticity over performance. That Sutton guy canceled his wedding and flew across the country to chase his past. The Ashford girl chose love over money. Even that ridiculous wedding planning troupe found their niche. Sometimes people need permission to break their own patterns. And the ones who got hurt will heal," Park says, "and maybe learn something about themselves in the process. Pain is a teacher, Robin. Sometimes the best teacher." They walk in silence, the moonlight painting silver paths across the water. Somewhere in the Hamptons, in Manhattan, across America, people are living their lives, making choices, taking chances, building futures from the rubble of carefully constructed pasts. The summer of 2007 continues, hot and golden and full of possibility. And on a beach, where magic once happened, where love was scrambled and reconstructed, where chaos taught its lessons, the ocean keeps its eternal rhythm. Waves crash and retreat, indifferent to human drama, patient with human folly. The story ends not with certainty but with hope, not with perfection but with truth, not with control but with surrender to the beautiful, terrifying chaos of authentic living. And somewhere in all of that, in the mess and uncertainty and brave choices, love finds its way, as it always does, as it always will, even in the Hamptons, especially in the Hamptons.